Now, we finally have some good news in the Syrian conflict. A summit of U.S. and French presidents has provided the final confirmation that, at least with most of the Western powers, excluding the United States, that regime change in Syria is now off the table. This is not a goal that they're actively seeking anymore. Now, there's been hints and signals from different powers, even from Washington sometimes. There have been statements saying it's not wholly necessary to get rid of Bashar al-Assad, but much more necessary to get rid of ISIS. Of course, the United States would like to clean up the mess that it caused. Now, it is very clear that France is officially abandoning the position of regime change inside of Syria, despite having in its past presidencies been very much a goal that they want to reach. Now, this comes as a joint news conference between Trump and Macron following Trump's recent talks with President Macron in France. Now, the statement of abandonment of regime change in Syria is very specific. The wording actually makes it very clear. Indeed, we now have a new approach in Syria because we want results. We want to work closely together with all our partners, including the United States. We have one main goal, which is to eradicate terrorism, no matter who they are, what they want to build, an inclusive and sustainable political solution. I do not require Assad's departure. That's no longer a prerequisite for France. For 7 years, we did not have an embassy in Damascus, and we still have no solution. Now, why is this happening? Why have they all of a sudden given up on the idea of regime change and that becoming an idea that's spreading among the European powers? Not so much in the United States, but in the European imperialist powers. Basically because they know the rebels are going to lose. They know that the FSA, the Al-Qaeda that's backed by the United States, and ISIS are going to lose the battle to the Syrian government with the assistance of Russia. In fact, if you've been paying attention to the war recently, there have been many high-profile victories which have wholly bolstered the Syrian government. And now consider that ISIS has been defeated in Mosul as well, and that the continuing victories of the government show that ISIS and al-Nusra and other affiliated al-Qaeda groups don't really stand a chance anymore. It's still going to require, much fighting, maybe for more years. But it's obvious at this point that they are going to lose, that it's only a matter of time. All the Syrian government really has to do is hold out. And that means that those backed by the United States are going to lose as well. So when you start having that kind of a situation, they're going to at least France is realizing that when this war comes to an end, they're not going to forget who it was that was pounding on them. When it comes to an end, the Syrian government is going to remember who it was who was against them and calling for them to be destroyed and replaced by something else. And when that happens, France isn't going to be looked upon too kindly, or the United States, or the UK. So when it comes back to the economic development of Syria, that's going to fall directly into the hands of Russia, and particularly, and as well as China. Because the rest of them were trying to destroy them the entire time. So they're not going to be really friendly to their interests. This is France's way of trying to get in on the coming victory of the Syrian government, because the whole point was to get rid of it and replace it with a Western-friendly puppet government. But that's not going to happen now. So France is cutting its losses on regime change and trying to see what it can get in terms of its interests forwarded in the country once the war comes to an end. And this is an example that the United States might want to follow. It's very clear that the U.S.-backed forces are going to lose. They've been on the defensive for quite some time, and as I have said, there have been tremendous high-profile victories coming out for the Syrian government. It's high time that the United States makes the realization that France has already made. The Syrian government is going to win. Bashar al-Assad is going to remain in power largely thanks to the help of Russia. And they're just going to have to accept that and possibly work with it. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.